Hey guys, it's Lucas here. I got my reasoning behind why I believe Sony copies off Nintendo. Alright, before you Sony fanboys chew my ass about this video, let's clear up one thing. I am no fanboy. I'm going to show you some Sony consoles that I own, and it's going to be clear that I am no fanboy. Getting that out of the way. Thank you. Alright, so in the 90s, Nintendo came out with the good old amazing N64. The first true 3D system. And that's awesome. Kick ass. 64-bit, bitches. And, oh shit. And it had Mario 64, which defined 3D platforming besides Banjo-Kazooie, which was also exclusive to this system. And yeah, so Super Mario, super awesome. Now, when the system launched, it came packaged with this kick-ass controller. Why is it so kick-ass? It's got a full 360-degree analog stick. Comfortable as all hell, bitches. And it's got full camera controls, so you can control what aspect of the game you're looking at. Alright, so that's pretty kick-ass within itself. You get the rumble packs. Now, this is not my rumble pack. This is a memory card for my 64, the rumble packs and the other controller. But they also made a game called Star Fox 64, which introduced Rumble. I think it introduced Rumble, I'm pretty sure it did. It introduced a Rumble pack, at least, on a game console, for a home console. And people were blown away by that. It was fucking awesome at the time, revolutionary at the time, but you know, bar none was revolutionary. And then also the 360. Alright, so basically, it's awesome because full camera controls, 360-degree analog stick, rumble packs. Now, it was competing when it launched, or after it launched, with the Sony PlayStation. Now, when the Sony PlayStation released in the US and in Japan, it came packaged with this controller. Now, what does it look like to you? Well, if you're very familiar with the PS2, you're going to say a mutated PS2 controller, which is exactly what this is. It has no rumble, no analog sticks. After seeing what Nintendo did with the rumble pack and the analog stick, Sony comes out with a product called DualShock for the PS1. Now, you guys know this is a PS1 controller, because if it was a PS2 controller, these would be black, and this would be black as well, and the end would be rounded off. And this also says PS1 right there. PS1. So they decided to slap on two analog systems because they know that they couldn't have added camera controls button wise, and I guess to be more flexible with analog sticks. They decided to add on an analog stick for camera controls, and they decided to add on an analog stick instead of having a D-pad. And they also added in rumble. Now, after giving you what I just said about the N64 controller and how it launched before the PlayStation, and how Sony did this after they saw what the N64 controller was capable of, your guess is as good as mine. And my guess is that they copied. Alright, and there is a shitload of speculation that Sony copied off Nintendo with the Wii remote. And I know you Sony fanboys are going to say, oh, who would want to copy off a fucking dildo? Alright, number one, it does not look like a dildo. And number two, how is it that they announced 6-axis a month after Nintendo announced motion controls in the Revolution? It was codenamed the Revolution. Nobody knew anything about it until they released news at the E3, I believe, that it was motion capable. And that's why it was codenamed the Revolution. Do you understand that? Revolution in gaming. Kick ass. And then after that, people didn't care about PS3's Blu-ray anymore. They figured, alright, fuck it. The Wii remote is so much cooler. And plus, and it's also only $250. It was only $250 too, so that was another plus. And you know, Sony decided a month later, alright, Nintendo's getting too much attention for this. We're coming out with 6-axis. which it rotates or whatever on it has gyroscopic sensors in it, 6 of them, something like that, 6 axes, I don't know. I really don't know physics too well, but does that make any, that makes sense to me. I know there's gonna be a lot of Sony fanboys who are gonna be on my ass about this, but yeah, so there's my little fact for you, there's my little fact for the day. Sony copies. I'm 100% sure, bar none, they copy. And if you don't agree with me after showing you what I did with the DualShock 1... Oh, wait, here's another thing, And why the hell would they release a DualShock 2 when DualShock 1 works in the PS2? Here's my PS2 controller. And it's the same thing as this. Anyway, there's my answers for the day. See ya.